they want to stand the chance of murdering their children as well as themselves.
No, but you can unravel now with odd non sequiturs. But the answer to the question you asked is really, really straightforward.
All right, so there's a rhetorical trick constantly used by the right-wing media to turn people against refugees. It's the old line about charity begins at home. But what happens when you expose the hypocrisy behind that argument? Well, a caller to James O'Brien's show tried it, and when James wouldn't let get away with it, the caller's argument unraveled into something truly ugly and dehumanizing. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Now let's watch this together, and then I'll give you my thoughts at the end.
David is in Thanet. David, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I can't figure out why there's certain things you can't figure out, like these people that on safe territory in France or in Germany or whatever, and they want to get over here. They're on safe ground. They would be taken in. They would be accommodated. Why do they throw themselves into the sea, risk their lives, and risk the lives of their children?
You'd have to download...
risk the lives of their children by throwing them in as well.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to download... I'll give you a quick answer, but if you download yesterday's show, you'll get nearly 3 hours answering those questions, David. But the short answer is, if you ask them, they'll obviously tell you. The circumstances of their lives are such that the prospect of risking their lives in the Channel is preferable to doing the things that you've just described.
But they're in France, they're safe.
No, but I've answered your question.
What's the point? They're not having a gun held to their head, are they?
No, but you asked a question. I've given you the answer. For them, it's preferable to risk their lives in the English Channel than it is to stay in the countries that you call safe.
They want to stand the chance of murdering their children as well as themselves.
No, but you can unravel now with odd non sequiturs. But the answer to the question you asked is really, really straightforward. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that you don't want to hear it.
This is straightforward. 2,700 veterans in this country on the streets without homes, other people in social housing, kids dying in social housing because it's so bad. Charity begins at home. We should be compassionate about our own people.
Why do you only ever talk about that? Why do you only ever talk about that in conversations about refugees? Because you've never rung me when we're talking about food banks.
Well, do I have to? I mean,
no, but I'm just interested in why you only care about these issues when we're talking about foreigners, and you never ring me when we're talking about poverty in this country, or indeed about the plight of veterans, which we cover a lot on this programme.
It isn't compulsive to tune into your station.
No, of course it isn't, but it's interesting that you mention these issues today that we're not talking about, and you never call in when we are talking about them. Why do you think that is?
Well, you were going on about Braverman and the fact that you couldn't see why she was...
Why do you think that is, that you never ring in to talk passionately and concernedly about the issues that you've raised when we're not talking about them?
Well, I've been taking my time over a long period of time to listen to these different issues and formulate ideas of my own.
So why would you ring in on a topic that's not about military veterans or social housing, to talk about military veterans and social housing? I'm just wondering what your own answer to that question is. Here we are having a conversation about refugees. I'm going to ring in and talk about something completely different.
No, listen.
I am listening, David. I think that's the problem.
You called it an invasion.
No, Suella Braverman did.
All right.
I think that's a disgusting word to use.
No, but the way it was portrayed was as though, it's bad for her to say it's an invasion. Well,
I think it's a disgusting word to use.
No, quiet. A large number of hornets.
Did you just tell me to be quiet?
A large number of hornets.
Did you just tell me to be quiet?
A large number of hornets or bees flying through your window at any time could be seen as an invasion.
Right, yeah, you carry on.
But they don't necessarily want to murder you. You've left the ruddy window open.
Okay.
If you've got a wound on the side of your leg and bacteria get in there, it's nothing personal. It's just bad luck.
So you're comparing refugees to bacteria?
No, but you are. You've done that straight away because I know where you're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah, you're deliberately doing that.
Okay, just run me through that, David.
I just see them. I will. I see.
Why have you mentioned bacteria in a conversation about refugees?
Because of the word invasion.
Well, but I'm objecting to that word. You're defending it.
Yeah, a large number of...
So why have you mentioned the word bacteria? I have listened to you, David. I think that makes one of us.
A large number of anything can be qualified as an invasion.
Only if it's a threat.
No, it doesn't. Large numbers, pal.
You never talk about an invasion of Good Samaritans, do you? Or an invasion of angels.
Well, look, let me put it to you this way: the news usually is depressing
just stop
because
now.
most news is bad news, and
David,
you're
people
pretty
are
bad
listening.
news yourself.
People are listening.
I'm sure they are. But why
Just
do they
stop
throw
now,
themselves?
David.
Why do they risk their lives and their children's lives when they're already on?
I've
safe
already
land?
answered that question.
You don't particularly want to.
I've already answered that question.
It's crazy that they do it.
Yes, but we've answered the question why. It's preferable to the alternatives.
Well, I say again, charity begins at home. We
Except
shouldn't be
it doesn't
too worried
though
about
for you,
them.
does
They're
it?
already on safe. They're already on safe ground in France and Germany. So why do we worry about them?
Do you know, the more you repeat yourself, the worse it gets, not better.
It doesn't. Only because of your own, whatever you've got in the back of your head.
Right.
Your own brainwashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most people spend most of their life in the back of their heads.
Okay.
And quite honestly, we can't afford to run this country at the moment as things are for our own people. Yeah. Let alone paying the bills for the rest of the world. Yeah. And these other people, as I said, are on perfectly safe ground.
Yeah, but you keep saying that, and it's utterly irrelevant to the conversation that we're having. But anyway, you crack on and have a great day.
Oh, well, good day.
All right. David there, precisely the kind of people that Suella Braverman is trying to appeal to. So don't be like David.
So let's just stop on the word bacteria. That's the end point of this rhetoric. When all of the deflections and phony arguments are stripped away, that's what's left underneath. Not a comparison to people, but to an infection, a disease, something you have to eradicate. This isn't just an accidental slip of the tongue, it's the logical conclusion of a worldview fueled by dehumanization. But let's rewind to how that caller got to this position. He started with that classic right-wing trick, what about our own? Charity begins at home. He brings up homeless veterans and poor social housing, as they always do. And as James correctly points out, the caller only seems to care about those issues when we're talking about foreigners. And this reveals the entire cynical game. It's a bait and switch designed to control people, often very angry men like this, who are rightfully frustrated with the state of the country. The same right-wing media that tells this caller to be furious about refugees will, on another day, tell him that nurses demanding better pay are greedy, that teachers on strike are lazy unionists, and that funding the public services needed to fix that terrible housing he mentioned requires unaffordable taxes. They manufacture an enemy out of people crossing the sea, while simultaneously turning you against the very people at home, your neighbours, your public sector workers, who are fighting for a better life for everyone. They tell you to look after our own, but then define our own as only the people who agree with them, and never the ones who actually need the help. In reality, when the right-wing press and media are telling you to look after our own, they mean the billionaires who own them. It's a deliberate, cynical strategy to misdirect anger. They want you angry at the refugee in a dinghy, not the billionaire owner or the politician gutting the services you rely on. They use the caller's compassion for veterans as a tool to justify his contempt for refugees. That's how the trick works. Let me know how you feel about this in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for more, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.